Hi everyone. In today's video, we're going to go over how to create this comment feature on your Softr website or app using a combination of Softr and Airtable. So what you're going to need is to have a couple of conditions in place before your comments will work. The first is that you must have it only appear on the list details page, which means that you first have to have a list like this. So make sure that you have a list block set up and then also a list details page like this because a comment will go down here. The other condition is that you need to have it to where somebody can sign up or sign into your app or website. The reason for that is that it's going to pull the information for the person's image, their name, and that's how you're going to be able to have this part up here at the top. But that means that you're going to need to set up the flow for someone to be able to manage their profile. You're going to need to make it to where somebody can sign up and sign in. And with that, you also need to make it to where somebody can recover their password if they need to, or also you need to be able to give them a link to the terms and your privacy policy. So you can see that this becomes more complicated right at the start. So you need to weigh the benefit of having comments. How important is it to you to have comments or not? But if it is important to you, in my case, it was in the case of my retreat example here, then we're going to go ahead and do this from start to finish. So before we even start kind of touching the comment block itself, we actually are going to go through the setup for users. So I'm actually going to just go back to the Softr Studio homepage so you can kind of see from the beginning. So the first thing you need is a Softr account that you've already kind of set up. This is not really like the beginning of this particular setup. You would need to have all of those other things in place first, but it is the beginning of having users for this particular app or website. So if we open in our studio, then what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to users. So we're going to need to sync our data to a data source. So I'm going to choose the one that's attached here. So you will create this using this sort of personal access token in Airtable, and then linking that here. So let's go ahead and click on this here. And then we're going to need to map our Airtable base to this particular part here. So we need to create a table that has these fields. So let's go ahead and do that now. We can see that we're going to need to have the Airtable base, the table within that base, the email field for when they sign up. So this one here, the name field, so the full name here, and then a magic link field. So this is making it to where somebody can sign in from here. And then an avatar field is for the person's picture. So those are the different pieces that we're going to need to set up here. So if we go into our Airtable account and utilize the one that we've been using for the other pieces of this, for example, so if we go into this one, which is right now called App Marketplace, and this is what is being used on this sort of demo site here to host the data for our app marketplace. So all of these different features here to kind of get this to look the way that we wanted it to here. So as you can see here, we have the apps and then app creators. So we've already built out a little section for comments, but I will kind of go over this as we get closer to that point. But here we're also going to make it to where we have a section for our users or our members, however you want to put that. So we're going to do that now. If you wanted to change your name here to be more specific to this particular website or app, rather than just the marketplace, you could update this to say like personal website. And then I'm going to just put in here like demo, for example. You can, because it's kind of encompassing more than just the app marketplace itself, you could say, because it's also encompassing like your user information and so on. So let's go ahead and create the new table. So if we say all tables, you can add a new table here from a blank or from any of these other sources, or you can click here and say create blank table. It's up to you. I'm going to go ahead and do it this way, and we can call this one users. So let's go ahead and save this. And now you can see it's already kind of pre-populated a few things for you. So I'm just going to update this field to call this full name. And then we're going to turn this one into an email field. So we just rename it here and find the email option here. Save this. So we have full name, we have email, we need one for a magic link. So we're going to edit this and we're going to say magic link. Let's just make that capital. And that can be a URL, or you can have it just be a single line text. It's up to you. So I'm going to just go ahead and say single line text and then say save. And then on the status, if we edit this field, what we want this to be is actually for the avatar. So an avatar is just an attachment or a picture. So that is how you can have this set up for your users now. So now we're going to start mapping. So do we have everything we need? We have email, we have name, we have magic link, and we have avatar. So we're good to go. So let's go ahead and choose our base. So we have personal website, demo, which is this base here. Within this base, the table that we're going to choose is users. Then we're going to select our email field. So I'm just quickly going to delete these blank ones. So if we do an example, we don't have a bunch of blank ones in the top. So we're going to select our email field. So we look for email. Then we are going to look for our name field. So we're going to find full name. Then we're going to choose our magic link field and we're going to say magic link. And then we're going to choose our avatar field and we're going to say avatar. So that is how you're able to map this. Let's go ahead and save this now. Now that you've done the mapping here, you should be able to get to this screen where you'll be able to, when somebody signs up, see their information here. So you don't have any data to display it because nobody has signed up just yet. But you can see where your data is connected. You can open the base from here. You can edit this connection or you can remove the connection. You can also use this kind of preview mode, which shows all the users that have registered in application preview mode, and you can toggle this on or off. You can add a user here and do all sorts of stuff. You can also have user groups. So you have logged in users and all users by default, and then you can say which page they get sent to after sign in and sign out, which is pretty cool. And you can add a custom user group if you want to as well. So I'm using the free plan in this case. If you note here, editing permissions have been disabled. This means that defined user groups listed here will not be able to edit on your application. So that's fine because in our case, we don't need them to right now. But if you wanted to be able to have your users edit things in your application, then you need to upgrade to the higher plans. For now, we're just using this as a demonstration and learning how to set this up, and it's probably not as important for us right now. So that's completely fine. So now we have this set up to where we can receive users, but we don't have a way for them to sign up yet. So the next stage, now that we're set up in the background here, on the back end, we need to create a flow for this person to sign up with us. So we want to create a sign up page. So let's go ahead and add a new page, which would be a sign up page. Or you can say like register or something like that. So let's go ahead and say sign up. Where it's going to take us over here. So we're just going to click on this middle button here where it says add block. We're going to go over here to where it says user accounts. And you can see that there are different options, some that you need to upgrade, some that you are free to use on the free plan. So we're going to choose one. So it will be between sort of sign up form up here, sign up with this side image. These ones are locked. And then these are sign in forms and then later on. So we're just trying to have someone sign up. So you can either have it to where you just have this kind of plain one, or you can have an image. I think for now, let's go ahead and just use this more plain one, just kind of straightforward. You can add a logo here if you'd like, or you can take it off. And then you can have a title, which is here. So you can just say sign up, or you can say something else. You can add a background image to sort of this whole section here. You can have sign up with Google toggled on or off, but in order to have sign up with Google integrated here, then you need to kind of go through this process that you've created on Google, which is a little bit harder to figure out than is within the scope of this particular video. So we're going to toggle that off for now. You can have a domain-based sign up, which is that you only have a specific domain allowed. So that would be like an at, only at something something dot something is allowed to sign up on this particular page. In our case, we're not going to have that on. We next have the form fields, which are full name, email, and password. So if you toggle this down, you can add a label if you want to here, where it said like name, for example. You could say like full name. And then an email one, you could say email if you'd like. I think it's pretty self-explanatory without this. I think it looks cleaner if you don't have it. So I'm just going to have the placeholder here be full name, email, and password. So I think that is fine. And then when we have, you can see this is going to give you data like field has been mapped correctly, field has been mapped correctly. And then this one says map to a field in your data source to display real data. But you'll notice that you're not able to select. So that's fine for now because it's going to retain the password for them. And then we're going to go over, this is going to be sort of the sign up is going to be an automatic action. So you don't have to add an action here. So next we have the terms and privacy policy information here, which is let's say a compliance requirement for certain jurisdictions. So we need to create a terms and privacy policy from the beginning. So terms and conditions and a privacy policy. And then you also need to create pages for them that you can then link. So let's do that now. So you can see how comments are a little bit more involved than just putting in the comment block because you need to have a sign up process. But in order to have a sign up process for someone to have a profile from which they can comment, you need to have terms and a privacy policy because of the fact that you're storing people's data and they're interacting with your site in a more interactive manner than a passive manner. So just keeping all of that in mind. So in our case here, we can have terms or terms and conditions. Let's add a new page and let's call this terms and conditions, for example. And then let's go ahead and save this. And then we can add a block, static, other, and this can just be some simple text. So if we wanted to, in this particular case, I'm just going to copy and paste. This is my other one from my other website. And then I'll go in and change some stuff here. So let's go ahead and drop this in here. And then I'm going to update this really quickly right now. Okay, so I have just gone through and kind of updated all of this information. I'm just going to update the name of this particular block as well to terms. And then let's go ahead and create our privacy policy page now. So you're going to have the same process. If we go back to our sign up page though, what we can do is we can link the terms page that we just created to this link here. So let's go ahead and add this action to say open page. And we're going to find our terms and condition page here. We can have it open in a new tab if we want to or not. And then we can have our privacy policy next. So let's go ahead and create the privacy policy page. So we're going to say add new page. We're going to call this privacy policy. Save. And we're going to go through the same process. So we're going to add a block, static, come down to other. You're going to find simple text. And then we're going to click into here and I'm just going to use my one and adapt it here. So I will do that now. So I've just copied and pasted it in here. And just note that whenever you copy and paste something or use a template, and I'm sure you already know this, but You copy over mistakes as well, so make sure you always read through anytime you are gonna reuse something, to make sure that it is applicable to the actual situation that you're using it for. So I'm just going to go through and double check everything in here quickly. Okay, so I've just gone through and updated this privacy policy, so go ahead and do that for yours as well. And then we're going to go back to our sign up page here, and we're going to link our privacy policy button or link to our page, just as we've done here. So let's go ahead and add an action that opens the page of privacy policy, and we can open that in a new tab. So we can show sign in or not here at the bottom. I think it would make sense to have it on there just in case, but you need to make sure now that we create a sign in page as well as this sign up page here. Then you can also tell this site where to direct someone after they've clicked on sign up. So you can take them anywhere within your site. I think it makes sense for them to go back to the home page. So let's quickly create a sign in page so that we can link it here before we move on, so we don't forget about it. So let's say add new page, and this is going to be sign in, and let's save that. So even though we haven't done anything, we just want to make sure that we don't forget to link it here. So let's go over to our sign up page so that we can add the action of opening the page uh, sign in, which can be opened in a new tab or the same one. I think it makes sense to have it be in the same one. So before we move on to anything else, because we're going to forget about this if we move on too fast, we're going to just double check that everything is linked up the way we want it to. So right now we have sign up, we have full name, we have the email address, password, we have the sign up action that is automatic. Then we have some terms and conditions here, terms and and privacy policy. Then we have it to where if someone says sign in instead of sign up, they are taken to the sign in page that we have yet to finish setting up. The other thing would be that we want to add this sign up button to the home page. So let's quickly do that as well. So if we come up here to the top, we can scroll down to here to say add button. So it's going to get a little bit, sort of crowded up here. If we have a billion buttons, we could instead add a link that opens the page. So I might prefer that. So I'm going to say sign up, maybe like in all caps. And then we're going to add the action of opening the page of signing up. You can have it open in a new tab or not. And then we'll have sign in. So let's add another link that's going to be sign in and open the sign in page. So we're going to add action, and that's going to open the page of sign in. So you can see now we have a home button. We can reorder these if we think it makes sense to reorder them. I think it would probably make sense in my case to scroll this down underneath sign in. So maybe like this, sign up, sign in, and home, and then book a time. So you can make this how you'd like, but I think that makes sense. So now everything is linked up here on the front end, and we don't want to publish this because it is live until we're kind of a little bit more ready and set. While we're here, we can also add links to our privacy policy and terms down at the bottom. So we can say like terms, and then we can add that action of opening the terms page. And then I'm going to have that open in a new tab, and then I can say privacy policy and add the action of opening the privacy policy page. Okay, great. So now we have this kind of linked up and set up to go for when we're ready for everything to be finished. So let's go back to our pages that we were working on. So let's go back to sign in, and we need to add a block That's going to be user accounts, and then it's going to be the sign in form. So you have these other options as well. Sign in with code is an upgraded feature, all of these different options. So here we're just going to use this simple sign in form. I'm going to go ahead and remove this placeholder. We have sign in, and then we have somebody's email. So remember, you can toggle on or off the Google but sign in, but you need to have it configured in the back end. So we have email, password, and then when they say sign in, it's going to do that automatically for them. But we do need to create this having trouble logging in, sort of like connect to a page that we're going to create for them to reset their password. So we'll do that next. But first, we're going to go to this sign up button. So if somebody kind of navigated to this page by mistake and they really meant to sign up, we want them to be able to open the page that's sign up. And that can be in a new tab or not. I think in this case, we'll keep it to be in the same tab. So now we need to create this action here. So we're going to create a page now that is going to be like a forgot password page. We're going to save that. And then we're going to come here to add a block, user accounts. And then we're going to say forgot password form. You can take off the logo and just keep it kind of simple. Forgot password, your email, recover password. And then that is going to be fine here. So if now we go back over to where we were before, which is the sign in form, where it says having trouble logging in, you can add the action now of opening the page forgot password. So that is how that flow kind of works. And you need to also have another page, which is going to be your, I think it's called like recover password. Let me just find it really quick. Reset password form. So we just need to have that as a page. So let's add this new page called reset password. This is where the user gets directed once they click on the link to reset their password. So let's go ahead and save this. And we're going to add this block, go to user accounts and say reset password form. Let's go ahead and take off this logo, and they can add I can say just reset password, new password, and then it's going to do that automatically, but you do need to have this page set up. So that is how you're able to kind of set up this flow so far. But there is something else we need, which is there's going to be kind of a couple things. So let's first go back to the home page. And what we need is sort of the typical little sort of avatar image that shows up here. So if we go to our home page and go up to our header, and we scroll down, we have this option to show the user profile. So we're going to toggle this on. And this is going to give us what their options are when they click on it. So in my case here, if I sign in to my account over on my retreat page, for example, this is what we're going for, is the ability for someone to view their profile information, to sign out, or to do other things. So if we go back to our studio here, for example, this is going to be an automatic action for them to sign out, but we can change the icon color and things like that. So we can also change what it actually looks like here. So I think in my case, I'm going to just maybe change the color to something else. Maybe I'll keep it simple and go with like a gray. We'll see how that looks, and we can always change it. So then we can add a link if we want to. And in this case, we do. We want to have this sort of like my profile link. So we're going to choose to change this and say my profile. And then we can adjust the icon to have the right color that we want or whatever else. And we can make it to where we can choose from the library. Maybe we change it to this little guy who looks like this. So now it's going to say sign out and my profile, but we need to add the action. So we need to create a page called my profile. So let's add a new page. We're going to call it my profile, or you could just say profile. I think my profile is fine. So let's go ahead and save this. And then we're going to add a block. And this is going to be under user accounts. And we're going to call this user profile. So let's go ahead and click on this. And this makes it to where the person is able to see their information. So they can see and modify their full name, their email. They can update their profile's avatar image. And then they can change their password here as well. So there's not much you need to change on this side unless you wanted to customize it more in some way. You can add a background image, for example. You can change what it says here for my information, or you can say like my profile. We have the form fields here, and we can add a link if we want to, or sorry, a field if you want to, if there's more that you wanted them to be able to have here. The update profile is going to be automatic. The change password, you can have that here or not, but that would be automatic as well. So what we want to do here then is to go back to our home page, go back up here to our header, and we go back down to my profile, and we want to add the action of opening that page when someone clicks on it. So now it's all linked together and have it open in a new page or not. So now things are getting linked up. And we're now in a better position to add a comment block, which was the goal at the beginning of this particular video, which was actually more involved than originally thought. So now that we actually have things that are live and ready to start testing, let's go ahead and publish these updates to our site. So let's get out of these. We're going to open our website in a new tab. You can see the new buttons that we have here, and we're just going to kind of test everything to make sure that it works. So one of the things is that it's a little bit awkward to be able to do this if the person's not logged in. So it would also be awkward for someone who's already signed in to still see sign up and sign in. So we actually need to make another header, and we need to change the visibility. So what we can do is we can duplicate this, and then we can modify what the visibility is for each one and what each one of them looks like. So one would be, for example, I just use this sort of duplicate feature. So one would be for that's visible to non-logged in users. Okay, so that would be people who are visiting the site who haven't logged in yet. So in that, and then the other one would be visible. So let's go over to visibility to logged in users. So we have different views for people's different statuses of whether or not they're signed in. So what that means is for non-logged in users, we would want them to see the sign up and the sign in, but not necessarily this sort of the user profile. So let's toggle off the show user profile. And for the people who are logged in, we want them to be able to see the user profile, but it would be awkward to still see sign up and sign in because we know that they're already signed in. So we're going to just delete. So make sure you're clicked into this header, and we're going to delete this sign up and sign in link and keep this user profile little avatar image so that when they're logged in, they can see their account. So now we are going to publish these updates, and we're going to kind of see the difference here. So now when someone goes to our site, they don't see the little avatar image unless they're signed in, but they are able to see the sign in page here. They are able to see the sign up page here. They're able to see our terms and our privacy policy and all the things that we've linked together, and they can book a time and all the other things, but they can't see the little avatar image. But we will see that once we've kind of tested this user journey and created an actual account. So now that we've gotten to this point, I think it would be prudent to go ahead and test our user journey to make sure that everything is set up correctly and to create our first user in order to have that person then comment. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we're going to make sure we're going to say sign up. Well, let's just first test all the buttons, which we kind of did. So we already kind of made sure that this goes to sign up, this goes to sign in, and then if we say having trouble logging in, you can access the forgot password function. If we go to sign up, you're able to link off to the terms and conditions and the privacy policy here. So those are all fine. So let's go ahead and create a user account. So I'm just going to use Demi Demo, and I'm going to say demidemo at gmail.com. I'm going to give her a password. I'm going to go ahead and agree to the terms and privacy policy, and I'm going to say sign up. Now you can see that I've been taken to the home page because that's where we told it to redirect us. And now you can see that we have this new header, which has taken off the sign up and sign in and only has home, book a time, and their ability to sign out, which if they do looks like this. And if they sign in, they can go sign in and it retains their data here. And then they can view their profile where they can add an avatar, change their password, or change their information. So in my case, I'm going to add an image. So I'm going to go ahead and do, let's say, this one, for example. And now we can see this image is here. I'm going to say update profile. Update profile. So I've just refreshed and now you can see that the person's image is here. So now that they have updated their information and we have Demi Demo and their email and their image, we can test other functionality as well. But first, let's just see what this did on the other side. As you can see, what it's done here is it has created this sort of on the back end, the user's full name, email, magic link, and avatar, and has input that information in Airtable. On the Softr Studio side, under users, we now have our user here. If we needed to, we can generate a magic link. And then you can have a last seen date if you upgrade, but you can see the created date, the name, and the email of the person. So we're just going to test the forgot password function. So I'm going to sign out, and then I'm going to say sign in, and then I'm going to say having trouble logging in. And then we're going to say demidemo@gmail.com, and we're going to say recover password. Please check your email and click on the provided link to reset your password. So let's go over to our email account. You can see from the Softr team, reset your password. Hi, Demi Demo. You recently requested to reset your password for your Demi Demo account. So they're pulling this information. Softr is pulling this information from what you've titled your app or your website here. Click the link below to reset it. Note, if you do not request a password reset, if you didn't request one, please ignore this email. And then you can just have it to where you click here. That's why you needed the reset password page, even if you didn't have to do anything. So we're going to say new password, and I'm going to give a new password here. And I'm going to say reset password. Great. So now that we've reset our password, we can sign in with our new password here, and we're good to go. So now that we have tested everything, we can actually go on to the next part, which is the actual comments. So if we go back to our app details page, now what we're going to do is come down here to the bottom and we're going to say add block, and we're going to look for comments here. We're going to add the comment block. We're gonna sync to a data source, and the data source is going to be our Airtable account. And the base is going to be our personal website base. And the table is going to be comments, which we've already set up here. And if you haven't yet, it looks like this. You need a section for a commenter ID, a record ID, a comment text, and a created date. And then we're just going to map now. So we have commenter ID. We have the current record or record ID. We have the comment field, so comment text. and then the date mapping. So created date. Comment settings, so you can have how many comments per page. Max is 100. So I think 5 is kind of a lot. I'm just going to say 3. And then if people want to see more, they can say see more. Save the button labels, so you can change this to say something else, comment, and an empty state would be no comments. So it looks like this. And then if we go over to features, that is talking about this section up here. So it says comments. Here's a subtitle for a comment block, for example. And then we can just say, you can have nothing, or you can have a little subtitle that says something like, leave a comment below, or you can say whatever you want. I'm just going to keep mine pretty simple and just say leave a comment below. So profile image, we can adjust this if we want. We can adjust the width, the height, and all of the margins if we wanted to. The user's name, the user's comment, and the date and time. So we have the ability to change the styles for all of these. We can also change the style of the padding here, for example. The padding's kind of like a lot, so I'm going to take it off a bit. I think that's probably pretty good. And then the bottom padding is pretty good. I think we can maybe make it a little bit smaller, maybe medium. So that's referring to this part down here. And let's see if there's anything else. Visibility. So we can make it to where only certain people can see this block. So all users, logged in users or non-logged in users, as well as device visibility. So has to be visible in at least one device, but you can change this for different devices. Okay, so if we go next over back to our source, for example, or our features, I mean, let me just double check one thing, which is, I just was looking at this comment and it doesn't really match the colors of the rest of the buttons. So I just wanted to change this color. So let's go ahead and modify this color to choose this green. So I'm going to go to my ColorZilla and look at my picked color history. And grab this one, 47C692, this one here. So just made this comment color green, and then the padding around it looks a little bit bigger than the other one as well. So maybe we'll kind of bring it in a little bit. I think that looks a little bit closer. So now I've just tried to kind of match the style a little bit more on each of these so that the comment button looks a little bit more like it belongs. Okay, so now we have our comment block sort of configured. So let's go ahead and publish this, and we're going to just test to see how this looks on the other side. So let's go home. And where this comment block appears is in our app marketplace. So we're logged in right here, and we can see this eligibility, let's say for a specially adapted housing grant. And then we can see our comments down here. So it says comment, leave a comment below. Somebody can type something in and then they can say comment. And let's go ahead and do that while we're logged in with our person here and see what it looks like. So I'm going to say, like we could say something like, what a useful application or something. And then we can just say comment. Okay, so it said something went wrong, and in the past, I was able to have the created date here be a text. It's like a single line text field, but when I reviewed the comments, Softr help docs, it says that you want to use instead a date field that has a date and time. So I tried changing that one thing because the record showed up here. It just didn't show up on the actual website. So I just changed the field type from it was single line text to date where you include the time. So just make that change there. And then let's see what else. So now you can see this comment here. And this is what it looks like to somebody who is not logged in. So they can still see the comment here and the date and the time like this. And if I sign in to the account here, I can see my comments. So if I go over to apps and I choose this one here that we were working on and scroll down to the comment here, I can edit or delete it. So that is how you can create comment blocks on your Softr Studio page, which are really fun and useful. But as you could see, a lot more involved than initially thought, I'm sure, because you have to remember all of these different pieces need to be in place. You need to have a place to store your users. You need to have your users set up in Softr. In order to have users, they need to have the ability to manage their profiles and change their passwords um, and sort of all of these different pieces. So also that comments are just finicky and that they have to be attached to a list details block, which means that you have to have a list and then a list details block in order to have them work. So that means that you have to have all those different pieces together in order for you to make it work. But as I said, I think they're worthwhile at the end of the day because they make your site or your app way more interactive and personal to the person. So they can come in and they can sort of review your whatever it is, your app or whatever, leave a comment and feel like they get to be a part of it. And you also get feedback from your users that let you know if something isn't working and you can fix it. So I hope this was useful and I'll see you in another video.